Well, good morning. I can't see you, and I wish I could. I wish this whole shop was full of people doing stuff. But it seems that we're not going to be able to do that sort of stuff. So, this is your introduction to mechanics in the rest of the 2020 semester. And I'm not sure if we can come back or not. I'm not sure anything. But we're going to act as if we're not going to be back. And then if we do, then it's a good thing. So the first thing that I want to do is make sure that you understand how you got your marks in the first place. It got a little confusing at the end, and I just want to make sure that we're all clear on exactly what that looks like. We had approximately 22 days of activities that we could have completed. 22 days worth of skills. Now that's not 22 skills, but days worth of skills. Your mark is based on the amount of skills that you did that added up to the number of days that we were here for. So if you completed 22 days worth of units or skills, then you would get 100%. If you completed 11 of 22, you would be at 50%. There are several of you who are at 10, and so that would put it at about a 42%. I often find, especially in grade 10, sometimes in grade 11, that some students have a slow start, and once they realize that they have to take responsibility for themselves, that I'm not going to babysit them or push them, I'm going to let them be motivated and try and figure it out for themselves to try and do some work. That's when, at about the 20-day mark, they kick it in, and I watched a lot of people in the last 2 or 3 days say, oh, we're going to have to do this. And then their mark gradually increases because they start to work. So that's where we're at, and hopefully you can understand that. If you do have any questions about that and you're like, Martins, you got it wrong, just throw me an email and I'll give you a call, or we can do a video conference and we'll figure it out. So you may be wondering, what are we going to do? What now? What does it all look like? When do we start? I'm going to try and answer some of those questions for you today. On April 20th, which is a Monday, it's probably about a week from now, you're going to get an email from me. And in that email, I'll be explaining what exactly to do. There will be a link in there to a new Google Classroom class code. It's going to be different than the last one. I want to maintain the last Google Classroom codes for next year and stuff like that. So we're going to do it a new one. So it's going to look a bit different so that you're not confused with how it was and how it will be. Hopefully you're going to take off right from where you left off. So if you had finished a unit of skills, if you're in Mechanics 10, let's say you finished engine repair skills and you need to do engine operating principles, you're just going to continue on from where you were. They're going to look a little bit different because I'm not there to interact with you, and they're going to look a little bit different because the little physical things and the practical things that I got you to do, obviously you can't do them because you're not here. And so we're going to try and make it as theory and interesting wise as possible so that some of you can bring your mark up. And once you have brought your mark up to where you like it, to where some other people are, then we can start preparing for things that can happen in the future. So some of you signed up for option 1 and some of you signed up for option 2. I am, for all intents and purposes, going to consider everybody an option 1 and option 2 the same. I'm going to present the information. If you have chosen option 2 and you're like, I can do this, I can raise my mark, I can learn some stuff, I want some feedback from Martins because maybe I can use it later, then for sure say, hey, Mr. Martins, can I do an option 1 because I want some feedback? And I'll say, yeah, you bet. Really at any point, because we work on a system here in mechanics, whether you're here or not, where you do as much as you can, and you are self-paced, and you're motivated to do it, and you're gonna get done as much as you can. And so it's already set up for people coming in and out and going faster and slower than everybody else. So if you're slower than everybody else, that's not a problem. We'll catch you up. You just have to stay active and connect with me often. So there are 2 stages that each one of you can go through, but let me explain what those are. Stage 1 would be, how can I get my mark up? So some of you have a mark that you want to improve to go above 50. The next stage is, how can I prepare for Mechanics 20? Often many of you want to take Mechanics 20. And so what are the things that I can do to get ready for that? So what I've done is I've talked to some of the administrators up front, and I said, Is it okay if we tackle some of the Mechanics 20 theory so that when they get here next year, they don't have to do the theory because they've already done it, and they want to move on and start doing the practical work? So that's what I'm going to do. The first stage, how can I bring my mark up? The second stage, once it's there, or if it's there already, then how can I get ready for next year so I can get some of the theory done now so that the practical stuff is just right away when we get to class. It's up to you. You can move as little or as far as you want. It's no different than when you're in my class. It's time to be grown up. It's time to be an adult where you're gonna have to motivate yourself. And if you don't feel like it, sometimes too bad. You gotta do what you need to do to get what you want. So it's up to you. It's all on you. Some of you may be asking, what exactly does this look like? How, you know what it looks like when you come to class. You just walk in and you're like, yeah, here's class. This is what we do. But when it's in a virtual world, it's a little bit different. First thing is, everything is going to be theory. We just can't do the practical work. And I can't expect you to do the practical work because not everybody has the same stuff. So if I say one person has to do this and another person has to do that, then none of them are getting the same experience. Another thing, and probably more importantly, is I can't be there to watch you. I can give all the instructions I want through video and through other things, other information, but I can't be there. And because I can't be there, if I ask you to do something and you try and do it and you get hurt, then there could be liability issues, and I don't want that. And you don't want that either. So if you want to take some initiative and take some of these concepts and ideas and say, hey, I want to rip apart my grandpa's lawnmower. Hey, that's entirely up to you. In fact, I would encourage you to do things like that. But you won't get any marks for it, and I'm not asking you to do it. Just wanted to make that clear. So theory is where we're at. Now you're thinking to yourself, boring. I mean, the first thing that you did when you came to mechanics class was, when can we get into the shop and do something? I can't remember where I was. Is it going to be boring? I hope not. I really hope that we can make it interesting and we can have some interaction depending on what we do on our computers and online. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, it might be. Hopefully, you and I can interact in a way where I can help you learn and we can still have some success. I think we can. I find that real, deep, memorable learning, so that you not only just can memorize the stuff, but you understand it, that happens with interaction. And that's why at the bottom of each page on electrical theory, I want you to come to me and we have a conversation just to make sure that you're up to speed, just to make sure you're understanding it to a level where you can understand the next stuff. And so I think we can do that because we can still have that conversation. Maybe it's on video on Google Meet, maybe it's over the phone, maybe I'm just saying something to you. These are interesting times, but I think we're up to the challenge to learning some theory and getting it done well. Excellent. Now, learning tools. One last thing is, what are we going to use? We're going to use video. I've got a lot of videos out there. We're going to keep using those. We're going to use probably some online dictionaries. I'm going to give you some links to different dictionaries where you can find information. I'm also going to be giving you a call. I want to stay in regular contact with everybody. They've sort of given us the guideline, talk to your students once a week. And so I'm going to try and do that somehow, whether it's on the phone or Google Meet. Well, that's everything. That's what you need to know for now. On April 20th, you can expect another email from me. And in that email is probably a video or some instructions to go onto Google Classroom. I will probably do a little screencast about how to move through the Google Classroom and what it looks like and how you can figure that out. For the most part, the general ideas are we're staying on the same idea. You have to finish things. If you don't finish all of the skills in a unit, then you don't get credit for that unit. And we're just going to work through that exactly the same as we had it in class, except we're only doing theory, and we're going to have to catch up later on the practical stuff. All right, thanks. We'll see you on April 20th.